Sure, do this what's up. TV the Star for the Star now. We live in the flesh. And we also back at T. Don't think by the title of this video that it's some racial bashing, because this ain't what it really is. Black and white by law. Black versus white by law. Same difference to me. I'm not talking about two different groups of people per se or particularly. I'm talking about the black and white writing that they have written these laws into existence. Why is Christopher Dunn still in prison after 32 years? We're just going to have a brief illustration of two different cases that just became relevant to me after I decided that I was going to make a white versus black or black versus white video. Here we go. Get the iced coffee on there. You heard me though? Like and subscribe, aka Lasu2V.
For more than 30 years, Christopher Dunn has maintained his innocence while locked away in a Missouri prison. For just as long, there have been plenty of efforts to free Dunn. But despite a mountain of evidence in his favor and a judge saying evidence of guilt is lacking, it is an uphill struggle. So how did Christopher Dunn get here? On the night of May 18, 1990, a teenager named Rico Rogers was shot to death while sitting on a porch in Dunn's neighborhood. Chris says he was home when the shooting happened, on the phone with a friend who was giving birth at a nearby hospital. Chris says he had no motive to kill Rico, since he wasn't even familiar with the victim.
Never knew him at all.
This is what black versus white by law is. We came from an era where we were getting blamed for killing other black men, and majority of the time it wasn't us, up until a certain point where we just started losing sight of who the actual enemy is. How can we continue to perpetuate this amount of violence on each other in the black community, black on black crime, and we see that they are continuously imprisoning other black men for wrongful convictions, shit that they ain't never did. They won't even let this man out. He been in jail 32 years.
I never knew his family at all.
Wow.
All I knew is that his family moved into my neighborhood.
The next day, police arrested the then 18-year-old Dunn. He was tried and convicted on the testimony of two young boys, ages 12 and 14 at the time, who claimed Dunn shot at them while sitting on the porch around midnight.
His public defender spent maybe a total of 20 minutes with him before she represented him at trial. He was convicted in 45 minutes of jury deliberation, and that was it. I mean, he was
45 minutes. It took y'all 45 minutes to say that this man was guilty of of shooting another black man that he didn't even know for no reason. And he had an alibi that he was on the phone with somebody at the same time. But guess what? Technology didn't work as good as it did. I mean, as good as it do now. Back then. So it was easier to, let's say, falsify evidence and put the blame on a particular person.
18-year-old. He was given life without parole plus 90 years.
They gave this boy life without parole plus 90 years. What is the purpose of giving a man life without parole and 90 years? I just don't understand this shit. It's the modern day lynching of men. They send you to a place where it ain't nothing but your own kind, and if you ain't strong enough, you'll become another victim or another statistic to the state. What are we doing here? It's the black and white writing that have certain people thinking they can do certain things to other people. It's not race per se. It's not white versus black. This white woman is the forefront face of that man's campaign to get out, and they still won't let his ass out.
He was initially offered 10 to plead out, and he said, no way, I didn't do this. I don't want these people to think I did this. I don't want these parents to think I took their child from them. I would never do that. Refused it, and they really threw the book in.
Both boys later admitted to lying on Dunn because they didn't like him and officially recanted their stories. Neither boy actually saw who pulled the trigger because it was dark. No physical evidence ever linked Dunn to the shooting. In 1991, Dunn was sentenced to life without parole plus 90 years.
He didn't have no physical fucking evidence, and the boys came out and said they was lying about the whole thing and blaming it on him. Why this man continues to sit in jail for 30 years? Look how corrupt black and white writing is. Look how corrupt the black and white law is. It's black versus white by law. People aren't making these choices on their own. They see these stipulations, they see these laws, and they know how to bend them and break them for their own benefit. Life without parole and 90 years at 18 years old. You tried to mentally enslave and lynch this new man, and y'all didn't even know him. And the sad thing is, he was blamed for killing another nigga. And y'all still did that shit to him, just to make an example. Not that y'all actually cared about the other black boy that got killed. Let's be honest, they ain't care about the other black boy. This is all just for their own satisfaction.
It was a 2-day trial with jury selection. So really it was opening, witness statement,
2-day trial.
witness
It ain't
testimony,
taking that long to
closing.
goddamn. They already had their mindset, basically.
1-day trial. And unfortunately, it's an all too familiar reality for poor, especially black men in this country. It's quite astounding.
I
In my
already
role
said
as an ultrasound tech at OSF Healthcare, I get to provide care to people when they need it most.
it's quite astounding for poor black men in this country that we get basically railroaded by the fucking system. You know why? It's the black and white writing. It's not black versus white people. It's not that, man. Because soon as a black person get into a certain position, they use that same black and white writing on a nigga. Soon as a Mexican get in a position, they use that same black and white writing on another Mexican. So I don't want to hear that shit. Soon as white people get in a position, they'll use that same black and white writing on white people. Do you get it? I think I just cracked the code. It's not race. It's nothing but the black and white writing that has people in this, I'm better than you. Because yeah. Let's keep it going.
What's a typical day like for you?
The conflict battlefield. That's like landmines everywhere. You don't know what to walk. You're walking on
Exactly. Yep.
But you have to stand up, or you have to wait until the kitchen is almost empty before you can sit down and eat something. You always have to watch your back and make sure you watch your family and protect your good. You can set for one on just by simple games. You know, you got to be comfortable with what you're doing, what you say, and how you look, how you present yourself to them.
And this is why they say the system will lose you. They threw that boy in the system and ain't looked back since.
Kira Dunn initially met Christopher back in 1999 while working as a volunteer writer for the online magazine Justice Denied. Since then, she has been advocating for Chris's freedom. Through a series of letters, phone calls, and visits, Chris and Kira eventually fell in love. They got engaged in 2007.
What's black and white? What's black versus white right there? I don't see shit racist right there. That's why I said it's not about that. She using that black and white writing against the people that wrote that shit. She's looking in between the lines of that black and white writing and understanding that, hold on, this don't add up. And if it don't add up, why isn't he being exonerated from those charges? Why isn't he being released and have to pay contribution for all those years he spent? This is one thing. They don't barely even like to give people their money, even though they didn't wrongfully imprison your ass for your whole life. Whole fucking life gone. For some shit that you didn't even do. All over black and white writing. Nothing else. Black and white writing. Railroaded his ass. Because they say they can do certain things for certain actions that's writing. This is all the law is black and white writing. And people are abiding by those black and white writings. Laws, constitution, legislation, all that other goddamn bullshit that lawyers and everybody else go to so they can learn the gift of gab, to learn how to articulate their manipulation.
And married in 2014. You're married to Chris, and you have never spent life
8 years
outside
and
prison
still
with
in
him.
jail.
How has that been?
It's untraditional, definitely. It's different. It's challenging. I feel that if we can make it through these days like this, we can make it through anything. It's lonely.
See, if we have more situations like this, and not saying black men going to prison for shit that they do, but more situations where we standing for something as a whole. They didn't have a whole rally or a whole mob of people behind them. It's just his immediate family, the ones that's probably still alive, and her. And he dying before they ass is in there. Because the way that the system already set up.
It's sad. We kind of have our little life in 15-minute increments because that's what the traditional phone system allows. When we visit, we can give like a 2-second hug and a 1 to 2 second closed mouth kiss, and
He been in here 32 years, and obviously, if he got the privilege to come on news and be able to speak about his case, obviously he ain't been doing nothing to make his time harsher or to get into trouble. Why the fuck did he get lowered down to a lower security prison? Why is he been in there 32 years and he can still only have a 15-minute visit? What type of slave shit is this? What the fuck is this at, man? He can only have a 1 second or a 2 second hug? What? So these motherfuckers sitting there counting and saying, oh, that's enough. Who in their right mind would do some shit like this? Only because why? It's in black and white writing. Not because they don't like niggas. And they probably don't actually like niggas. But since it's in writing that they can choose to use these writings against you and that they don't have to blame it on them not actually liking black people or niggas, they just say, no, this is just a law. We're sorry, we can't do it. It's just my job. Ain't that what people say? When you go into any establishment and something happened, it's just my job. I'm sorry, it's just my job. Just by the writing, people will goddamn ultimately choose their own fucking fate, and they will choose the fate of others as well.
Sit down and hold hands across a big table, and that's what we have physically, but mentally and emotionally, we have much more.
Kira organized a recent rally in St. Louis with supporters
Few people
continuing to push for Christopher's release.
Come on, supporters. There's a couple people now.
And we just don't know how much time we have. He served almost 32 years for something he didn't do.
32 years.
And we just don't know how much time we have to wait for the wheels of justice to turn. It's so slow. If innocence doesn't matter, then guilt doesn't matter, then why do we have loss? What's the point of the legal system?
Now 50, a chance at freedom for Dunn came and went last August when the Missouri Supreme Court refused a petition to hear his case.
So just last August, they refused to hear his case. After all of this technology, all of this lack of evidence that they have against this man, they refuse to even see the fucking case. See, that's what I said. They can use the black and white writing against whoever the fuck they see fit. And unfortunately, they use the black and white writing on a certain demographic of people in a more severe manner than they do other people. Just like I'm going to show the other half of my illustration with another video. And this boy, I can't even go into it yet. But as we see, it's not black versus white per se. This is how they get away with it. They turn black and white, as far as Negro versus white, into black and white writing. Just like now, guess what? They're using black and white writing against that woman. Because they see all like, say, bitch, what? You a nigger lover now? Ain't that what they used to call them? Nigger lovers? So when they call them that, they say, oh, we're going to use the same shit against you now. And then she look and read in between the lines and understanding that all this shit is fraudulent.
In 2020, a 25th
No, this ain't a
Circuit
bash
judge
against
agreed
white people
evidence
or
of
black people. This ain't no
blackmail,
racial,
but that
racist
judge stopped short of
video.
freeing
It's
Dunn,
read in between
setting
the
a
lines, a
precedent in a
perspective.
2016 case that says a prisoner who proves their innocence under both thresholds of Missouri law cannot be released unless they're on death row.
Oh, come on. Oh, man. I'm glad they just wrote. What? Okay. Tell me what color that is. Man. I'm a savage. I don't need to be on nobody else's wave. I don't need to ride no rap wave. What I say? It's the black and white writing. This is what racism is right here. This is what racism is right here. It's not black people versus white people. It's the writing. Black and white writing. Man, yeah. Yeah, right.
This is
Fuck
a
it. Yeah,
baffling
right. You can't
case
tell me
because a
nothing, man.
judge
That's what
ruled
that's what
that you were
racism is right
innocent,
there.
but did not
That's
let you
exactly
out.
what racism
How did
is.
you feel when you heard that?
In Springfield, Darren Bailey fought against every single tax increase, fought for parents on.
To be honest with you, I held that time. That man say, with the evidence presented before this court, there is no evidence to find him guilty. And there's a time before this court that Christopher Dunn was guilty based on the testimony of a liar.
A judge interpreted a ruling in a past case to mean that innocence could only be recognized for death row inmates. So until Missouri legislators or the Supreme Court overturns Lincoln versus Cassidy, the judge felt he could not let Christopher go, even though he said he was innocent.
All because of what? The black and white writing. He know this man innocent. On behalf of the lack of black and white writing that they have, aka evidence, but based on the way that they stipulations and their legislation is set up in the laws, their black and white says no, you can't release him unless he's on death row. Why didn't that judge put that boy on death row then? Because he maybe already knew eventually that this shit was gonna happen. So he wanted to furthermore solidify that he was never gonna get out of jail, even if he was innocent. Because now he can use the black and white to his advantage and never had to be looked at as racist. Because that shit ain't real. It's only the black and white writing that makes people prejudiced towards other people or feel more powerful or less powerful than other people.
My issue is there's tons of case law at the federal level where they talk about what is the standard to find actual innocence. And that's the standard, and he met it. And he's still in prison because of a technicality, right?
Technically, it's the black and white writing, sir. Funny.
Most people think, right, that guys get out of jail on a technicality. This guy is being held in prison off of procedure, a technicality.
Off of the black and white writing. Yo, nobody can tell me shit, man. Yo, that's so funny to me. People won't understand what I'm talking about until it's too late. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Have you ever seen anything like this in all your years of practicing law?
I have seen judges say pretty crazy things, but never put it in paper, right? I've never seen a judge say, there's no reasonable juror that would convict this man. No, I have not seen it on paper in a decision. No.
His best shot, I believe, is to get the prosecutor in St. Louis City to invoke the new law that gives her the right to file a motion to allow someone that she thinks is innocent to prove it. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
How are you two going to work?
Why is that so hard for a person to get a case to prove they to show evidence or show lack of evidence on their behalf that they is innocent? Why should that be so hard? Out of all these other people that actually out here doing crimes, why the fuck are y'all holding people back from being free based on stipulations, technicalities, black and white writings?
Together to try and secure his freedom.
Justin, I think, is wanting to try to go back into federal court, which I think is a really big long shot.
We have to stop this! Now,
One day you will. Maybe not screaming though, man.
what do you think is going to happen?
Let's see.
So you find
Freckle face killer Eric Smith freed after 28 years behind bars. Freckle-faced killer Eric Smith freed after 28 years behind bars. This little boy took a 4-year-old and led him out to the woods on another Michael Myers situation and brutally beat and killed that boy with rocks and sticks. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Found guilty of murder in the second degree?
Yes.
Is that unanimous?
And they only gave him second-degree murder. He came out and said it. It was premeditated. How did it get dropped all the way down to, god dang, second-degree murder? This is what people don't understand. This is what people ain't gonna understand. This boy drug a 4-year-old. He was 14, I believe. I think he was 14. He drugged that boy out to the woods, or lured him out to the woods, and brutally attacked him. And he only got goddamn second-degree murder. The black dude, Eric Dunn, or Christopher Dunn, he didn't even shoot the dude, and even if he did shoot him, this nigga got life without parole plus 90 fucking years.
Yes.
Eric Smith
Yeah,
was only
okay.
14 years old.
That's why I
when
said
he
you
was
use the
given
black
a
and white
sentence of
writing
9 years to life in prison.
to
Smith had
whoever
been convicted
they
of
feel
murdering
necessary
4-year-old
to
Derek
inflict
Roby.
more punishment.
But before his arrest, many residents in Savona, New York, thought it might have been the work of an evil adult.
Late in the afternoon, the body of Derek Roby was found. It was just a brutal, brutal killing.
It was just a brutal, brutal killing. The black dude that is still in jail for 32 years for some shit that he didn't do, didn't brutally kill that black boy that got killed. The black boy just got shot. He got life without parole plus 90 years. This boy that just brutally, brutally killed a little 4-year-old boy is freed after 28 years behind bars. It's all about the black and white writing.
When police found Derek, they discovered that he had been lured into a wooded area
Lured.
not far from his home.
If you say somebody's being lured, is that not premeditated? So they used the black and white shit to their advantage and didn't give him the extensive amount of charges that he actually deserved because they feel sorry for him, even though he didn't went out here and did this to somebody else, little boy, another little white boy at that. When it's white on white crime, oh, they gonna use the goddamn black and white to y'all, both of y'all advantage. Even if one side lost, one side might get money, the other side might not get as much time. Get it?
strangled and beaten with rocks.
Strangled and beaten with rocks. It's
After
sad.
everything was done, I think everybody, including myself, thought it was an adult. And how could anybody do such a terrible, terrible thing?
But Smith
That's his grandfather. That boy looked like he lying. That boy looked like he knew what type of man he was. Looked like you used to do this shit, or you come from that lineage. This is why they say some things just things that's in the dark or the closet gonna come to the light. That's why you see a lot of these kids, white kids, going out here doing some of these things. But guess what? Just like that boy that shot them kids at the high school and went in there and started crying. Guess what? They used them black and white writings to get that boy off. Yeah. But we see countless and countless of times where they use them same black and white laws to give you the most severe punishment. The other side of the demographic is black versus white by law.
walked into the police command center 4 days after the murder, offering to help police solve the crime.
Exactly. He
Smith
walked in
said
there.
that
What
he
type
had
of
seen
picture is
Derek
that?
that day with a white t-shirt on, holding a lunch bag. Investigators felt like Smith knew something, but didn't realize the killer was sitting right in front of them.
I bet.
Then 2 days after Derek Roby's funeral, Smith confessed.
Yeah, I was there. I was there when my grandson confessed. It was terrible.
Investigators and community members tried to understand why a 13-year-old boy would do such a thing.
Y'all trying to understand. Y'all didn't say that. Y'all didn't say that for the other case. You didn't say you was trying to understand why did he shoot somebody that he didn't shoot. Y'all was trying to convict. But when it goddamn the other side of the demographic, they trying to understand why did you do this? When in reality they already know because they know them. So if they already know the tendencies and the sensations that they have, they understand why this boy lashed out like this on his own kind. Because they do the same shit day after day after day. And when they get mad, guess what? They use the black and white writings to punish the other side. When they mad at a situation like this, they go out and go to another case and sentence you based on some feelings that they had for another goddamn case with some white on white crime.
They learned that Smith had a history of being picked on as a young child. His bright red hair and freckles made him a target for bullies.
I don't know why he did it. I asked him why he did it. His words almost verbatim were, I don't know. I just saw this kid, this blonde kid, and I wanted to hurt him.
He just said, I just seen this blonde kid. And I want to hurt him. So you lured him out to the woods. And then you only got second-degree murder.
After he was convicted and sentenced, Smith was sent to Brookwood Juvenile Detention Center.
Love you, Eric. Love you, honey. He's still a honey after he done drug a little 4-year-old boy out to the woods and beat him with rocks and strangled him? What? Love you, Eric. See you later, babes. Oh, people crazy. People crazy, Nick. These people are crazy. This is black and white versus by law, man. This boy did all this shit and got 28 years.
When Eric Smith was sentenced, was there a sense, now we can get on with our lives?
You hear the 9 years to life. And I think back then, everybody was focusing on the life side of it.
For Derek Roby's parents, Smith's prison sentence did not give them the closure they had expected. They were forced to deal with the harsh reality that their son's killer would be eligible for parole beginning in 2002.
Decide that, well, now he's done his time and we're gonna let him go.
It scares the hell out of me.
In 2002, Smith's parole was denied. But every 2 years, Smith appeared in front of the parole board, hoping to prove that he had changed and was no longer a danger to society. The frequent hearings took a toll on Derek's parents, who were forced to relive the horrors of their son's killing.
He was able to get frequent parole hearings, but Christopher Dunn didn't even shoot another black boy, got life without parole. So he was never able to go to the parole board. This is how they use the black and white against us, where they think is people versus people. No, it's these black and white laws that they have put into place for anybody to use and manipulate if you get into a high enough position or power.
Must have felt like a weight hanging right over your head.
Yes. There's all of these really happy times that are supposed to happen throughout your life, but there's always that.
In 2009, as Smith approached his 30s, he said he had changed in an interview with WENY-TV.
Day one is, I'm not the same person. There's not a day that goes by in some way, shape, or form that I'm like forced to remember what I did. I'm automatically thinking I killed Derek and the pain that I caused Dale and daughter in love.
You can openly say that you killed somebody and be freed, but you can ultimately pledge your allegiance that you innocent and never be freed, even though they have no evidence and basically know that you're innocent.
In 2010, the parole board turned him down again, but as the years went by, clinical forensic psychologist Joni Johnston says he seemed to be changing.
Passion from him for other people. So I'm seeing.
So you ain't seen that. So they ain't seeing no compassion from the Christopher Dunn dude, huh? For a crime that he never committed, so he never lacked compassion. This is how they use the black and white. Now you got all other type of psychologists and shit writing letters and recommendations that you get out and shit like this. All Christopher Dunn got is his white wife. You see how they can bend and break shit to get this boy out? That's why they gave him 9 years to life. They knew they was never gonna leave that boy in there forever.
A little bit of hope for now.
Years passed, and the parole board didn't budge until October 2021, when his parole was granted. But Smith could not be released just yet. He still needed to find approved housing.
Smith, who gained national attention almost 3 decades ago for killing a 4-year-old, has been set free.
On February 1st, 2022, after spending 28 years behind bars, Eric Smith walked out of prison.
Why, after so many years, they decided to give him a chance? And that's fine, you know, for him and his family.
Smith.
Exactly. They didn't agree with that shit. But by law, they had the opportunity to release him. Black versus white by law. People style for the style. Nah, I'm gone. I understand that people want that rap beef, gossip, mumbo jumbo shit. Shout out to everybody that's exploiting all the negativity that's entertaining the masses, man. I wish you the best. You ready?